percents, fractions, and decimals, and we went over some of this already in the previous videos. So let's take a percent. Write 48% as a decimal and a fraction. And we did this previously. So as a fraction, you know 48% is just 48 over 100. And you can reduce. So let me just make that better. And if I ask you to reduce this in simplest forms, you can bring that down. Well, you can make that a 12 over 25. Okay, so let's now look at to make a decimal. So here's the percent sign. Just move it twice. 0.48. So remember, if we want to get a decimal, we move it twice to the left. If we want to get a percent, we move it twice to the right. And we get a percent. So what about this? Write 56% as a fraction in a decimal. So as the fraction, it's 56 over 100. Okay, and you can reduce that. As a decimal, just move it twice. 1, 2, 0.56. There we go. What if we had something like this? Write 43 as a percent and a fraction. So I was trying to trick you here. There's no decimal point here. It's just 43. It's a whole number. Okay? So when you have a whole number, it's actually 43.0. So if you want to make a percent, you have to move it from the decimal point twice. 1, 2. Don't forget, when you have a wave, put a 0. So this is 4,300%. 4,300% if you had a 43 as a percent. Now as a fraction, what do you think it is as a fraction? 43 over 1. There we go. So if you want to see a decimal with the fraction, remember, when you have a fraction, the top number goes in the box, and 1 goes in the 43 times. It's 43.0. If you want to get a percent with the decimal, you move it twice. 1, 2. There we go. Tried to trick you. What if we had 0.43? So here's 0.43. What's that as a percent? Just move it twice. 43%. And the fraction, 43 over 100. Try this one. Write 0.03 as a percent and a fraction. Okay? So by now, you know, we just move it twice. 1, 2. 3%. You wouldn't say 0.3%. That doesn't make sense. So it's 3%. Now, what about the fraction? What's 0.03 as a fraction? It's 3, and what's the place value? 100th. It's in the 100th place. 300th, 3%. Okay, how would you do 2/5 as a decimal and a percent? Well, remember, with you have a couple of options here. We went over these in the previous video. You can bring the 2 down. Top number is always in the box. 5 doesn't go into 2, but it goes into 20. Don't forget that decimal. So 5 goes in 24 times, so it's 0.4. That's the decimal, 0.4. And 0.4, you just move it twice. 1, 2, and you get 40%. There you go. Now you could have also had 2/5, and you could look to find an equal ratio based on hundredths. Okay, you know 5 goes in the 100 20 times, so that's 5 times 20. Whatever you do on the bottom, you have to do on top. And you know 40 over 100 is 40%. You saw a word problem. What if you saw something like this? 1 out of every 25 people in Chicago love pizza. Okay. Now we don't know if this is true, but let's say you saw something like this. In Chicago, they love that deep dish pizza, right? Deep pan. So 1 out of every 25, that's the fraction. 1 out of 25. There's the fraction. What's the percent, though? Okay, well, again, you're trying to get 100. You're trying to get an equal ratio with 100. 25 times 4 is 100. So 1 times 4, gives us 4, so that's 4%. So if we believe this, then 4%, not of the population, but 4% of the 25 people in Chicago love pizza. Okay, let's do one more. How about if you had 0.003? What's the percent? What's the fraction? Again, you move it twice. 1, 2. So yes, you can have something like this. This is 0.3%. You could have that. And the fraction is 3, and it's in the thousandths place. So there we have. All right. Great job.